The Walking Dead and its spin-offs remain some of the most popular zombie shows on TV, but they are by no means the best of the genre. For years, zombie stories belonged to the big screen, with the undead pioneering some of the most haunting feature films in the horror genre. However, more recently, zombie stories have taken up residence on the small screen, with a growing number of projects exploring these brain-eating monsters in a variety of different ways. Whether it's a comedy-infused zombie show, or a period drama featuring a zombie plague, there is a lot to uncover. And while The Walking Dead played a big role in bringing the genre back to life, there are many shows that have built on that foundation and excelled in ways that The Walking Dead didn't. Because let's face it, sometimes The Walking Dead stumbled slowly and clumsily through stories, while others stalked ahead. Z Nation. Z Nation is an exceptional zombie series that takes the core concept and reinvents it in new and intriguing ways. The show picks up 3 years after a virus outbreak wiped out the majority of humankind and gave rise to an undead army of zombies. However, the distinction in this series is the inclusion of a central character who is immune to the virus. Now, this idea is not novel in and of itself, but the way that Z Nation explores Alvin Murphy's immunity is unique. Alvin was bitten several times after the outbreak, and while he doesn't become a zombie, he does undergo notable change. The show also incorporates comedy, which makes it feel more dynamic and engaging than The Walking Dead. With a well-rounded cast, a punchy story, and a seriously intriguing central premise, Z Nation deserves more love. Kingdom. This South Korean series debuted on Netflix in 2019 and delivered an action horror epic revolving around a zombie outbreak in 17th-century Korea. By blending historical events with supernatural fiction, and executing at a high level, this series immediately stands out from the crowd. It's darker and grittier than shows like The Walking Dead, and the stakes are significantly higher as the show follows the Crown Prince on a mission to prove himself by uncovering what has caused this terrifying illness to spread. It's unlike anything else in the genre, and the political drama weaved together with the rest of the events makes this short 2-season series feel so much more powerful and impactful. All of Us Are Dead. South Korea appears to have an edge in delivering powerful zombie stories that are grounded and based in dramatic and real situations, rather than exaggerating the concept to the point of it feeling otherworldly. And a great example of this being achieved comes in the coming-of-age horror series, All of Us Are Dead. In the immediate moments after a zombie outbreak occurs, a group of high school students find themselves trapped within their school to avoid infection. Unlike adults or heroes that crop up in a more fantastical horror series, these are ordinary kids, trying to make sense of an extraordinary situation. The show is gripping, dramatic, tense, and constantly evolving. iZombie. While the intense dramatic zombie stories certainly deliver something that stands out, American shows like iZombie also redefine the genre through ambitious adaptations. Based on the DC Comics series of the same name, this supernatural procedural show is unlike anything else in the zombie space. When Liv Moore is transformed into a creature of the night, it immediately upends her entire life and career. However, choosing to avoid a descent into becoming a mindless animal, Liv finds a way to use her new abilities to do something meaningful. As a zombie, Liv can temporarily absorb memories through ingesting brains, and with a new job in a morgue, she manages to satiate her appetite, and embarks on an exciting side gig solving crimes and murder cases. It's fun, it's clever, and it's novel in a way that The Walking Dead just isn't. The Last of Us. Of course, there are debates about whether the creatures in The Last of Us even count as zombies, but the resulting plague and supernatural horror is much the same. For that reason, this adaptation of a wildly popular video game is a great example of what the genre is capable of. Yes, the creatures are a major part of the story, but the bigger focus is the relationship dynamics that play out between the cast of characters. In a lot of ways, that is similar to TWD, but I'd argue that The Last of Us is both more grounded and more effective. From is one of the most recent entries on this list, and as such, it is still airing at the time of this writing. Unlike the other entries here, From also leans more into sci-fi and broad supernatural storytelling with the inclusion of other creatures alongside zombies. However, the quality of the series overall earns it a spot on this list. From follows a mysterious town engulfed in mystery and horror, as anyone who enters becomes trapped. While inside, they struggle to overcome a multitude of supernatural horrors, while navigating life in their new surroundings and trying to uncover what is behind the terrors that plague them. It's incredibly clever, and a deeply thoughtful series that blends so many wonderful elements to create something captivating. Dead Set. Charlie Brooker may be best known for having created the dystopian anthology series, Black Mirror, but just a few years earlier, he created a British miniseries about zombies that features many of the same clever trademarks of his later work. Dead Set follows a fictional recording of the popular series, Big Brother, over the course of 5 days. In this time, a zombie outbreak happens outside the Big Brother house, which leaves the contestants and crew of the series stranded, as London descends into chaos. It's wonderfully clever, and with the whole story playing out over just 5 episodes, it has a satisfying beginning, middle, and end, something that can't be said for The Walking Dead. In the Flesh. Another British zombie series, In the Flesh, follows what happens after a zombie outbreak has occurred and been successfully resolved. In fact, not only did the humans manage to win against the mindless zombie uprising, but they found a means of medicating the undead to restore them to consciousness. With that in mind, the show follows a young man who is attempting to reintegrate with regular society after being medicated and sent home. Unfortunately, locals aren't so keen to welcome the so-called rotters back. A nuanced and intriguing look at zombies with deep moral considerations. Ash vs. Evil Dead. Finally, one of the most famous horror franchises of all time, the Evil Dead series, created by Sam Raimi, returns in a thrilling sequel to Ash vs. Evil Dead. Roughly 30 years after Ash Williams returns at the end of Army of Darkness, he appears to have settled into a life of quiet, mundane routine.